Forged in the furnace of his observatory workshop, the greatness in the steel and copper art of Conrad Hicks is tempered by his humility. He sees his work as part of a continuous line of human toolmaking and the artistic expression which came from it, dating back to the Stone Age, 2.5 million years ago.
So this is my studio, workshop, forge. It used to be an old cinema, and it burnt down in, I think, 1991. And it was just a shell, which is perfect for me because I could, all the burnt walls and everything fitted my purpose quite well. I've tried to keep a lot of the damage from the flames. There's some beautiful textures and things, so it's part of the uniqueness of the place.
Alongside his own work, he enjoys showcasing pieces which have heavily influenced his art.
Here, this is my gallery, and I have photographs of work that I've done in the last couple of years. I made a whole lot of these little maquettes. When I do sculpture, I make a maquette first, which is a much kind of freer way of looking at the form. And then it also helps me to work out how I'm going to forge something when I actually make it large. So I forge it to scale in a little thing, and then I'll blow it up, say, 10 times.
Distinguishing himself in art and design at Cape Technicon, he soon took his own path.
When I was younger, I studied art and then found myself working for a company that was doing restoration of furniture. I started working with the metalwork. So in order to restore them, I had to learn those techniques. I think working in South Africa in a bit of a vacuum, there really were no other blacksmiths at the time, helped me to develop things and learn how to do things in my own way. And I found that that actually is instinctive. So it made me very interested in primitive blacksmithing and African ironwork and Bronze Age stuff from Europe, and the transition from stone to bronze and then bronze to iron. There's a beautiful relationship between the forms that kind of are very, very sculptural, and we recognize that language as being the rules that we have for beauty.
That icon of blacksmithing, the anvil, remains the foundation of his technique.
So this is my anvil that I've had for 35 years. This anvil I got before I started blacksmithing, so I think it was the anvil that drew me to the blacksmithing. I really felt that it was some huge presence in my life, a tool that needed to be used, and then I started using it and taught myself how to do blacksmithing on this anvil. Almost all of these tools I've had to make for myself in order to hold all the various shapes of steel that I have. And the hammers I bought at scrap prices and I had to rebuild them myself. They were made in the 1930s, these two. Came from the mines from Germiston, and they were used to make axes and tools for the mining industry. All of these tongs I've made them in a way which I like to make tongs. So the tools that I use to make the work and to do the artworks become part of the artwork itself. So the process includes making tools and makes the artwork, and there really is no distinct separation between the artwork and the tool. The artwork just becomes another tool whose purpose is expression.
For those who work in foundries, for fitters and turners, Conrad reveals how close their skills are to artistic expression.
The discipline of blacksmithing, toolmaking, is a very, very deep human, intuitive knowledge that we have. And basically, I've kind of tried to learn how to work in a way which is completely intuitive, responding to material. And that kind of only comes after working for 30 years. Your work becomes your handwriting, really. You can just express yourself through your work.
Among the pieces he is known for are his Conrad Hicks handcrafted knives.
This is a block of Damascus, which is a conglomerate steel of hard and softer layers. Some of it's got more carbon, some's got more nickel, so you get a kind of a contrast. It's mostly just for decoration because the material in here, all of it is suitable for knife making, but it makes a beautiful knife. Also shows the hammer marks, and the forging technique gets enhanced by the Damascus. Yeah, so I'm just working in a way which, well, while I'm working, it's so quick. So I'm just making something according to what I feel it should be. It's a completely intuitive process. And I know that because I'm using those sort of instinctive tool shapes, it'll work as a knife. Making these knives like this is like, it's like doing life drawing. Yeah, you got to hit it. It's very much like doing a martial art and playing the violin, because you have to sort of hit it and impart force very specifically where you want it to go in a very specific direction, but also you're working with rhythm and you're creating beauty at the same time.
Restaurateur Peter Tempelhoff is a long-time admirer and client of Conrad's, who has commissioned a new line for his latest eatery.
Peter from FYN, I knew him before he started his restaurant, and he was always kind of quite interested in pushing the envelope a little bit. And so I made him some beautiful bowls and things to serve food in. When he opened FYN, I gave him a whole lot of pans, and now he's designing a new menu with dishes that go on a hibachi. You can put on the table and they cook on the table. And I made these little copper pans and lids and things that go together.
Peter creates some culinary fireworks of his own.
This is a new dish of ours. It's a sashimi dish where we cook a prawn at the table in one of Conrad's pots. So this is a hibachi, and it's got a beautiful little banged out lid. So it's a beautiful piece of art. And then the bottom is the same, and then it's tin plated on the inside. And the first thing we're gonna do is this thing cooks really fast. We're gonna get the prawn onto the rock, and then we're gonna season it with a little bit of salt. Okay, cool, so in goes the water, and get that lid on really fast. Okay, then now we're probably about 30, 40 seconds. Now the prawn is done, so let's get that lid off. Man, there's nothing better than that fresh prawn. Freshly steamed, a little bit of salt, and this white soy sauce on. And then on top of the dish, we got some seaweed and some kohlrabi, as well as some kosho, which is a chili and yuzu mixed together. Our tuna sashimi with blue prawn, steamed at the table with Conrad's beautiful kitchenware. And it is just a fantastic dish. Man, you can't beat that.
Conrad's hardy, practical pans are the flip side of his pure personal expression in copper.
So copper is the opposite of steel. If you cool it down in water quickly, it gets soft, annealing. And with steel, if you cool it down, it hardens because of the carbon. But copper becomes hard when you work it, which is how the Bronze Age bladesmiths and toolmakers, they would work the copper, and it was bronze, to a point where it became really, really hard as steel.
Any piece from his latest exhibit will see you catch your breath, stop, and stare.
The collection is called CU, a name for copper on the periodic table. I'm trying to just separate it from steel, and which is the traditional blacksmithing material. These new pieces are a point which I've been kind of arriving at for quite a while. It's been like, 30 years worth of work to get to the point where I can just do something which is just pure expression. It doesn't have any other function. It's just in the material. It's a kind of a word or a expression in the material. That is it. The amazing thing about copper is that it's immediate. So I forge it and it is what it is. The immediacy of the material and the way that I relate to the material while I'm making it, and that is the piece. There's just no separation.
This second solo exhibition adds to a career exhibiting from New York to Miami, among other great artists in whose company he clearly belongs. Get more of the Insider Essay online. Follow, connect, engage, and be inspired to live better with the Insider Essay. Watch the show Monday evenings at 5:30. Repeat Saturday at 1 on S3.